So Unit 2, 2.4 involves information management. And as we can see from the specification here on the side, the exam board is expecting you to know the steps involved in the management of information and how that affects and impacts the individual organizations or individuals, the holders of information that we looked at right back in 1.1. So let's have a think about what these different things are. Okay, so the first thing that normally happens in information management is you collect the information from somewhere. Now, this could be surveys, it could be data that you've got, through computers that you've collected, measurements, mouse clicks on Facebook, anything like that. Okay, so some collection of information, of data, has taken place, and now you've got this kind of stuff that you need to think about. Well, what next? Okay, and what normally happens is you store it somewhere. Now that might be on one of those handheld devices that we looked at earlier, or it could be on a local computer or on a server in the cloud. So it gets collected and then it gets stored. And then normally later on, someone retrieves it so that they can do something with it. So if you do a survey in the town, say on an iPad, you'll get people to fill that in. That gets stored on that iPad, and then it may get stored in the cloud, on iCloud, for example. Somebody back in the office will then retrieve that information onto their computer so they can do something with it. Then it gets manipulated, or a better way maybe of explaining this is it gets processed. Okay, so it gets some context. It becomes more than just collected data. It gets turned into something useful. We kind of mess around with it, and we use some tools, we use some software, we manipulate that data and we turn it into something useful by processing it. Some analysis might take place once the data has been cleaned of any bogus entries or anything that's not relevant or seemingly biased. Then it gets analyzed, and there are tools, specific tools that get used for analyzing data. Spreadsheets are an obvious one, and so you have a look at it, you sort it, you search it, you create graphs and charts from it. You turn it into something that becomes a useful commodity for you. Securing it means, obviously, once you've spent all this time collecting it and manipulating it and analyzing it and turning it into something useful, such as a report for a manager, then you obviously need to secure that, which could be encryption, password protection, making sure there's regular backups of the thing. It needs to be secured some way to stop anybody just coming and kind of taking that and doing something with it. And the last section is transmitting. So normally that wouldn't then just sit there. Somebody's waiting for it. It's been created for a purpose. It would be sent to a manager further up the chain, or it would be sent to your research and development department, or it would be emailed out maybe to somebody who's asked you to create it for them. So it gets sent somewhere, it gets transmitted. So the steps are fairly straightforward. It gets collected, stored, then it gets retrieved out of storage, gets manipulated and processed into something usable, including analysis, and then it's secured, and finally it's sent to the people who are going to do something with it. Okay, so examples that they give us here. Collection could be something like adding information to a database about a new member. Manipulating could be making graphs, making charts, creating lists, sorting it, searching it. Then we analyze it. So the example they give us here is looking for patterns, for example. Patterns in rainfall, patterns in sales, patterns in return customers. And that helps us then to think about, is there anything we can do in terms of the future to capitalize on what we've learned? Securing it, well, it might get encrypted. It might go into the cloud where it's a password protected and there's some encryption applied to it. So if anybody does intercept it, they can't do anything with it. And then it gets transmitted, which could just be printed and stuck in the post, or it could be emailed out to somebody, or it could be put in document store online or on the intranet. And then the impact, well, what was the impact in terms of doing all of this, okay? Did it cost you anything in terms of money or time? Or, you know, did you need to get some software to encrypt this stuff because you didn't have any and that's cost you money? Do you need to train people to do this kind of stuff? And what does it mean for you as an organization to have this information and to manage it in this way? You know, what are the positives of having this information? What does it mean for you in the long run? Okay, so let's have a quick look then at the kind of question you might get asked on the exam. So you can see this question's asking us, it's kind of asking us two things here. It's covering a couple of topics. One of them is the actual tool or application that you might use to analyze data that's been collected and stored and retrieved, these results of this survey. But they're also asking us about the analysis of it. So what they're kind of trying to get from you is, what can a spreadsheet do in terms of analysis, and in this particular case, analyzing results of a survey that you maybe have done with you know, X number of people. This is a 6-mark question, so they're expecting, you know, a reasonably good answer here, not just a couple of bullet points. So what are they suggesting? They're suggesting analysis could take the form of creating graphs, creating charts that will get you a mark. And then the reason why they do that, well, because it conveys this information, these results of this survey, in a particular way that makes it easy to understand, and it makes it better for conveying numbers rather than a list of numbers. Instead, you know, it's a nice pie chart, or it's a bar graph, or it's got trend lines on it. We could use it to model. So what does it mean to create a model? Well, it's a spreadsheet of information that you can use as a model for these kind of things in the future. So if you did another one later on, you could use this same model, but with looking at different results. And that allows you to ask questions like, well, what if we did this? And what if we did that? And what if we changed something? What would we get the same results? And how does that change the impact of the overall result? So the spreadsheets have a tool built into them called What If. And you can say, well, what if these people said this? How does that change things? And what if they said that? And you can change the numbers, and the what if scenario will change the results. So you can begin to see, what does that look like if we maybe change things around a little bit? This idea that more than one person can use the spreadsheet, because you can lock individual cells, you can lock worksheets, you can password protect spreadsheets so people can look at it. In this day and age, you can put them on OneDrive and on Google Drive, and you can work collaboratively on those as well. Statistical data is obviously useful in a spreadsheet. And you can use the functions and formulas that exist within the spreadsheet software to work out things like averages and minimums and maximums and so on and so on. And if you've come up with any other reasonable suggestion, because your understanding of what you can do with spreadsheet software is pretty good, then you're likely to get a mark for that. But can you see how it works? You get 1 mark for saying something about the actual spreadsheet, and then you get more marks for explaining, like, what does that look like, okay, and what does that mean, and how is that helpful. So that's how that kind of style of question generally works. So they've given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they've given us 8 possible suggestions there for a 6-mark question.